When a woman misses you but chooses to stay silent, it's not because she has forgotten or moved on. It's because she's at war with herself. Inside her heart, she feels the longing, the memories, the moments that once made her smile, but her ego steps in and tells her to stay still. That inner voice whispers, "Don't be the first to reach out. Don't let them think you're weak." And so she listens. She lets her pride silence the part of her that aches to hear your voice again. Women often feel emotions more deeply than they show, but they also understand the power dynamics of connection. The one who reaches out first risks losing control, and that's something her ego refuses to allow. She replays the memories in her mind, the way you used to look at her, the comfort of your presence, the peace she felt when she was with you. And even though her heart wants to bridge the distance, she can't bring herself to do it because somewhere inside, she feels that showing her emotions first would mean you've already won the silent game between you. That battle between pride and love eats her from the inside, but she'd rather endure that pain than face the fear of rejection. Her silence, therefore, isn't cold, it's a defense mechanism. It's how she convinces herself she still has control over her emotions, even when those emotions are screaming your name. The truth is, she thinks about you far more than you realize. Late at night, when her mind slows down and the world grows quiet, that's when you cross her mind the most. She wonders what you're doing, who you're talking to, and whether you ever think about her too. But instead of sending a message, she chooses to keep her distance. It's not because she doesn't care, it's because she cares too much. And when a woman cares deeply, she also fears deeply. Fear of rejection, fear of appearing desperate, fear that the man she misses doesn't feel the same anymore. Her silence becomes her mask. It hides her vulnerability, her confusion, her emotional exhaustion. It's easier to pretend she's indifferent than to admit she's hurting. She'll convince herself that staying silent is strength, but deep down, it's her ego protecting her from heartbreak. The same ego that once made her confident is now the wall that keeps her from healing. She wants to reach out, but every time her fingers hover over the phone, that voice in her head stops her. What if he doesn't respond? What if he's already moved on? And so she puts the phone down and lets the silence speak for her. But what she doesn't realize is that silence can be louder than words. You can feel it. The unspoken emotion between you, the connection that time hasn't erased. And maybe, just maybe, in that silence, you'll both realize what truly matters before it's too late. When a woman stays silent, even when she misses you, it's often because she's testing what's real. She wants to see if the bond between you was built on something deep or if it was just convenience. Silence becomes her way of observing, of seeing what you'll do when she's not the one keeping the connection alive. Deep down, she's wondering, will he notice my absence? Will he care enough to reach out first? This isn't manipulation, it's protection. She's been through moments before where she gave too much, cared too openly, and was left feeling like her love wasn't valued. Now she stays quiet, not because she's over you, but because she's learning to value herself too. Her silence is full of questions she's too afraid to ask. She's not sure if you still think about her, if she still holds a place in your heart, or if her feelings are one-sided now. And instead of seeking answers directly, she watches your actions. Does your silence mirror hers out of indifference, or is it mutual restraint? Two hearts wanting to speak, but too proud to break first. For her, this silence is like standing in a storm of emotions while pretending to be calm. She keeps herself busy, surrounds herself with distractions, tells herself she's fine, but every now and then your name echoes in her mind, reminding her that she's not as detached as she pretends to be. What she's really waiting for is reassurance, not in words, but in action. She wants to know that her presence mattered, that her absence is noticed, and that what you shared wasn't just a phase. She's hoping that you'll take the lead this time, that you'll be the one to show her that connection still means something. Because deep inside, she's tired of always being the one who reaches out, the one who fixes things, the one who puts her heart on the line first. Her silence is her boundary now. It's how she teaches herself to stop chasing and start allowing. Still, the emotions don't disappear. Every memory, every conversation, every laugh you shared, it all lingers. And even though she might look composed on the outside, there's a quiet ache that stays within her. She thinks about what could have been, what was lost, and what she still wishes could return, but she also knows that rushing back too soon might only repeat the same mistakes. So she waits, not out of pride anymore, but out of hope that if it's meant to come back, it will. Sometimes silence isn't distance, it's faith. It's her way of giving the universe, or maybe you, a chance to meet her halfway. And if you do, she'll know it's genuine, because the moment you break that silence with sincerity, all that guarded emotion she's been holding in will finally have a reason to be released. A woman's silence, even when she misses you, often hides a deep emotional battle within her. It's not that she doesn't want to reach out, it's that she's fighting the urge to do so. She's holding herself back because she knows what it felt like when she gave too much before. She remembers the times she texted first, called first, tried to fix things when you stayed distant, and how that left her feeling unappreciated. So now, even though she still thinks of you, even though every part of her wants to hear your voice, she chooses restraint. Her silence becomes a symbol of strength, an act of self-respect that says, if he values me, he'll show it. You see, when a woman goes silent, it's rarely about not caring. It's about caring too much and fearing that vulnerability will hurt her again. She replays the moments in her mind, the laughter, the connection, the times when things felt so effortless between you, and wonders where it shifted. But she keeps those thoughts locked away, refusing to let them control her. Because she's learned that chasing love makes it run faster, and holding back gives it a chance to find its way back naturally. Her silence becomes her armor, her protection against disappointment, her way of maintaining her dignity even while she's missing you deeply. There's also something else in that silence, a reflection. She's trying to understand what went wrong, not just between you two, but within herself. Did she lose herself trying to please you? Did she ignore her needs just to keep the peace? These questions are heavy and they keep her up at night. But instead of turning those thoughts into words, she lets them simmer quietly. She's healing while she's silent. She's learning who she is again without having to explain her emotions to someone who may not have valued them before. It's a slow process, but it's one that makes her stronger, wiser, and more grounded. Ironically, this silence often makes men realize what they've lost, because when a woman who used to care loudly suddenly goes quiet, the absence of her energy becomes deafening. You start to notice the void she left behind. You think about her, wonder what she's doing, and maybe even feel that guilt creeping in. That's the power of her silence. It speaks in ways her words never could. It makes you remember how she was there when you took her for granted. And when she doesn't come running back this time, that's when the regret begins to build. But her silence isn't revenge, it's renewal. It's her way of reclaiming control over her emotions and her life. Because sometimes the most powerful thing a woman can say is nothing at all. That's when you truly understand that she's no longer waiting for your validation. She's finally learning to give it to herself. When a woman stays silent, even though she misses you, she's not just holding back words, she's holding back emotions that could easily overflow if she let them. That silence becomes her control, her balance in a situation where everything once felt uncertain. You see, for her, silence is not weakness, it's power. It's her way of saying, I won't break this time, I won't chase, I won't beg to be understood. Deep down, she may long to hear your voice, to share what she's feeling, but she's learned that vulnerability without reciprocity only leads to more pain. So instead of reaching out impulsively, she chooses stillness. And in that stillness, she begins to rebuild herself. At first, this silence feels heavy. She scrolls through old photos, replays moments in her head, and wonders if you ever think of her. But slowly, something shifts. The same silence that once hurt her starts to bring her peace. She realizes she doesn't need to force a conversation to be heard. She doesn't need to explain her worth to someone who should have seen it all along. She starts to understand that silence can be more powerful than words. It creates space, and in that space, truth begins to rise. That truth might reveal who really cares, who's willing to reach out, and who's content to let go. Her silence also forces you to face yourself. Because when she stops calling, when she stops checking in, when her name no longer lights up your phone, it makes you think. You start wondering what she's feeling, whether she's moved on, whether she's missing you too. Her absence creates curiosity, and that curiosity slowly becomes regret. You might start to realize that the silence she's giving you is the exact reflection of the silence you once gave her. It's almost poetic. The same distance you created now becomes your reminder of what's lost. And for her, this silence becomes healing. She starts to channel her emotions into growth, into rediscovering who she is beyond the relationship. She spends more time focusing on her goals, her peace, and her confidence. Each day, she becomes more emotionally detached from the need to be validated by you. That's when her energy starts to shift. She begins to glow differently. People notice it. Even you might sense it from afar. The woman who once waited for your message now doesn't need it. The silence that once felt like a wound now feels like strength. Her silence is no longer about missing you. It's about mastering herself. She understands now that if someone truly values her, they'll bridge the silence themselves. Because real love doesn't need to be begged for, it shows up, even in quiet moments. And as she holds that silence, she finds something far greater than attention. She finds peace. When a woman chooses silence, even when she misses you, it's not always about punishment, it's often about preservation. She's protecting her heart from reopening a wound she spent so long trying to heal. Deep down, she remembers how much it hurt to care more than you did, to chase conversations that went nowhere, to wait for effort that never came. So even though her heart aches to reach out, her mind steps in and says, not this time. That's where her silence comes from. Not hate, not indifference, but self-respect. She's teaching herself that missing someone doesn't mean she has to lose herself again. In her quiet moments, she relives the emotions she once tried to express. She might open your chat, type a message, then delete it before sending. That small hesitation says everything. It's her choosing herself over her feelings, because she knows if she breaks that silence too soon, it might take her back to the same cycle of disappointment. She's learning that love without balance drains her, and silence is her way of breaking free from that pattern. It's her reminder that if someone truly cares, they'll notice her absence, they'll reach out, and they'll meet her halfway. This silence also serves as a test not just for you, but for her own strength. Can she resist the urge to seek comfort in the same place that caused her pain? Can she stay strong enough to let go of something she once believed she couldn't live without? Every day she stays silent, she proves to herself that she can. It's not easy. Some nights she'll cry quietly. Some days she'll feel the pull to go back. But she endures it because she knows that healing demands space. Silence becomes her discipline, her boundary, her form of self love. And here's the part that most men don't see. While you might think her silence means she's moved on coldly, the truth is it's often the hardest thing she's ever done. She still thinks about you. She still wonders if you think about her, but she's realized something powerful. She can miss you and still not chase you. That's maturity. That's growth. It's her understanding that love doesn't always mean staying connected. Sometimes it means learning to let go in peace. Over time, her silence starts to change the dynamic. What used to be her chasing becomes your wondering. What used to be her waiting becomes your questioning. Her absence begins to speak louder than any words she could have said. When a woman stays silent, even though she misses you, it eventually becomes her greatest transformation. That silence, what once felt like emptiness, turns into clarity. She begins to see everything she couldn't see before. She starts realizing who gave energy and who only took it. She sees how much she overextended herself, how often she ignored her intuition, and how she confused potential with effort. Her silence becomes the mirror reflecting everything that was once hidden behind her emotions. And in that stillness, something beautiful happens. She finally starts to detach, not out of anger, but out of peace. As days turn into weeks, her emotions shift from longing to understanding. She no longer views silence as waiting for a message that may never come, but as a boundary that protects her energy. The ache of missing you turns into gratitude that she's finally respecting herself. She begins to see her worth not through your validation, but through her own growth. She starts investing her time in herself, finding new passions, reconnecting with friends, rediscovering joy in solitude. The version of her that once begged for attention now thrives in independence. And that evolution is something silently built. The more she embraces that peace, the stronger her energy becomes. She doesn't chase. She doesn't explain. She doesn't need to prove anything. Her calm presence starts to carry a quiet power. And that's when you start to feel her absence in a way you didn't expect. Because her silence is no longer about missing you. It's about elevating herself beyond needing you. You start to sense it even without words. It's in the way she no longer reacts, no longer posts anything that seems directed at you, no longer gives any emotional signal that she's waiting. That's when her silence starts to echo in your mind. While you wonder if she still cares, she's learning that she can love deeply without losing herself. That realization changes everything. Because once she understands that she can survive the distance, she no longer fears it. The power shifts. The emotional hold you once had fades, replaced by her self-control. And in that silence, she reclaims everything she once gave away. Her confidence, her peace, her balance. She becomes untouchable. Not because she doesn't care, but because she finally knows how to care without sacrificing herself. By the time you realize what her silence truly means, it's too late to break it. She's already found her peace in the quiet she once feared, and now that silence doesn't belong to you. It belongs to her healing, her strength, and her